War Eagle. My name is Molly McCartney.
My name's Connor Sharpton.
And we just completed a study on the impact of game conditions on football teams in Madden NFL simulations.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Madden is a video game that simulates football. It allows players to sit in front of their TV and to live life out on their gridiron as their favorite player or as their favorite team. Players are in complete control of the action, including the weather, the playbooks that their team is running, how skilled each of their players is. And so players are really in complete control of the game.
So the quarterback is under center right now, which is extremely realistic. Oh, that was a toss. And with the defense that I just called, that was perfect for it because I had man defense. They went after it, and he tossed it back behind in the backfield, so it was just like it would have been in a normal game.
Feels like I'm really there! So the main point of our study was to see how factors affect gameplay. We were able to change the in-game conditions such as weather, time of day, home or away games, to see if these factors actually had an effect on the game or if they were purely cosmetic.
So the objective of our study really focused on three main factors. We wanted to determine how the simulation dealt with a home field advantage versus playing away from home. We also wanted to look at the effect of a daytime game versus a nighttime game. Is a team going to be more amped up for a nighttime game? Or are they going to give out more yards, less yards? Then we also wanted to test a clear sky situation versus heavy snow. We wanted to see how teams were able to react to that heavy snow, if it was making things actually worse in the simulator. Now, to test this, we decided to look at a response variable of first downs. So that is, when we're looking at all these games, we're looking at how the number of first downs changes across all these games to see if heavy snow or nighttime or playing away from home positively or negatively impacts the number of first downs. Wow, this snow is really affecting my ability to play.
It's so cold!
Oh, shoot! Okay. Going back to first downs as a response variable, we took a lot of data from games that we'd seen in Madden and plugged those into Minitab to try and see which variable was most statistically significant in indicating that a team would win a game. We looked at the number of turnovers, we looked at number of first downs, we looked at yards gained in a game. Ultimately, first downs the number of first downs that a team got was able to accurately correlate to which team won the game around 85% of the time. This was much higher than the next largest statistic of yards gained, which only correlated to the team winning the game around 70% of the time. While there wasn't a statistically significant difference between the two, we decided to go with first downs because we felt like it gave us the best indicator of which team was doing well and which team was going to win.
Our goal for this experiment is to determine the effect of our three factors on the number of first downs gained by a team in a game. Therefore, our null hypothesis is that each of these factors and their interactions do not have a statistically significant effect on the number of first downs gained by a team in a game. The alternative hypothesis is that at least one of the mean numbers of first downs is different than in a set of circumstances. We want to know this at a significance level of 0.05. Therefore, the p-value that we're looking for to indicate significance is going to be less than 0.05 when we do our statistical analysis.
Now, in any good experiment, you're going to have things that you're changing and trying to measure the output of, but then there's going to be things that have to stay the same between each iteration. And so we had a list of controls and assumptions that we had to make in order to see if our simulation was actually being affected by our factors. A couple of things that we wanted to keep the same. We wanted to make sure that there were no injuries during games. So after Drew Brees got a really long neck, he'd actually keep playing and continue leading the Saints on to victory. We also wanted coaches to have equal skills, so you didn't have one coach calling crazy plays, play after play, and then another coach just running it 3 yards every time. Coaches needed to act the same way. We also wanted teams to have equal equipment. There didn't need to be any discrepancies in the way that the ball was being used to impact the number of yards or first downs gained. We also needed players on the teams to have equal skill levels, which is important. We don't want Cam Newton out there playing against A.J. McCarron as quarterback. We all know that is just plain unfair. It was also important to have the same playbook in each of these iterations, as a pass-happy offense might get a bunch more yards than a run-crazy offense. We needed to make sure that these were the same, and so this was also one of our controls. Now, it was obviously important in this simulation to have equal teams, and so we started off by setting the Broncos to play against the Broncos. Now, we did check into this, and having the Broncos as the home and away team still gave credence to one team as the home team and one as the away team. After this, we looked at all these settings and made sure that they were the same for every game, except for the three variables of interest, which were time, which we set to 1 o'clock or 8:30 p.m. We also selected the weather to either be clear or to be heavy rain. So that was our variable of interest there. Then obviously, one team would be the home team and one team would be the away team. After that, once we got into the game, we went and turned penalties off in the advanced settings, or the injuries off in the advanced settings, and made sure that teams were otherwise equal.
So, developing our method for running our test, we used 2 to the 3 factorial design analysis. And that was because we have 3 factors that we were looking at. We used this type of factorial design. We wanted to also make sure we had equal number of replications in our runs, and also that we randomized our run order just to make sure there was nothing influencing our data that we didn't realize.
Important to this is the number of replications for each set of circumstances that we were going to study. Using power analysis, we were able to come up with a power number of 3.5 replications. That means that we needed to do 3.5 replications of each set of circumstances in order to be able to tell some sort of statistical significance about our results. Now, we were a little bit more ambitious than that and decided that we wanted to do 10 replications per combination of factors. We wanted to do this just because we weren't sure exactly how the Madden simulator would work, and decided that we wanted a little bit more data to do some analysis on.
To set up this 2K factorial design analysis, we used Minitab.
Now, what you're seeing now is the steps required to define a custom factorial design in Minitab. From here, a screen opens up that allows you to determine the number of factors and then the different levels for those factors. After that, you're presented with the experiment setup, which shows you what set of factors or what levels those factors are supposed to be set up on each run. You then perform the run, or perform your experiment there, and you output the number of first downs given. After all the data has been input, we can start doing all of our statistical tests on the data to find out if there are any significant factors.
The results are in. In the case of home versus away being a significant factor in Madden, you are insignificant. Also, clear versus heavy snow is an insignificant factor. Day versus night, you are statistically significant. You came in at a p-value of 0.001.
Now, there's a couple of different reasons that we kind of thought this might be the case. And it kind of rests on the fact that Madden is a game designed and based on real-life football games. The designers of Madden probably had tons of access to actual football game stats. And in those games, it's possible that day and night were actually a statistically significant factor in football games. Now, reasons that night might lead to better offensive production include the fact that the sun is not going to be in the player's eyes all the time. Offenses can also be a little bit more hyped for games, leading them to produce a little bit better.
With this punt, he drops the ball. And that would be because it is daytime and the sun was in his eyes. which would not happen during a night game and would happen during real life. Just lucky that number 56 was there to pick up the ball.
War Eagle! We thought the results of this study were super interesting. So when we were thinking about opportunities for looking at the study again, we were thinking that we could look more in depth, including more variables and factors in our study.
We also thought it would be interesting to look at the effect that team rating has on win or loss. Each team in Madden is assigned an overall rating, and it'd be interesting to see if a team rated 90 wins a statistically significant larger portion of games than a team that's ranked, say, 75. We also thought it would be interesting to see if individual players were rated to play better in certain conditions. For example, if you put Peyton Manning in a night game when it's really cold, would he absolutely bomb like he does in real life all the time? It'd be interesting also just to check out the general level of success that different player ratings bring. Does a player with a 99 overall score a lot more than a player with only 90 overall? To kind of cap all this off, we really thought it'd be interesting also to examine the effect of player sizes. It's always really funny to make a 7-foot-tall, 400-pound player, but is that actually making him better than if he were, 5 feet tall and 160 pounds, like me?
All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. We hope you enjoyed listening to our presentation about the impact of factors on gameplay in NFL Madden.
It's been a semester-long journey, but we are excited to be at the end of it with a greater understanding of Madden and how simulation games work. You guys have a great day.